I was wondering, all of a sudden, seeing little children play with blocks and they knock them down. And they take great delight in building them up and then knocking them down. I wondered if that was some little baby Prajna understanding of interdependent origination.
단다 그래서 그때 야고 시란도스 맞지당 보고 춘중이 값을 때인데 저랑 그 셰브나 신기 나란주나 신마이 봐 반은 보고 춘중이 값을 때인데 근데 연구요래스 대선다 인도 근데 당보 근데 코나 가서 우리 야 줘봤다 근데 때 코나 런심마 좀 동바 있는 파식 근데 그때 야고 좋았어.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
In the younger age, that they are not solidly fixed to the idea of existing, like us or like ourselves at present, because of young age that they are very much comfortable with both existing and non-existing, and therefore they build something, and then as a sign of independent connection, they destroy. So they are not strongly attached or grasped to the idea of existing only, like now.
Your Eminence, I was wondering about when the split of co-emergent mind, if a child is not solidly fixed, but when does this? Is there a time when we actually fixate? Is it before birth or in our life do we at some point fixate where the mind is and then create the separation?
근데도 말이스. benangye thanda seyati bena bugu kapsula truyo mares nisin zimba yo mares ge yo mares ninsin da kar tangbo khoa thoma mebane tangbo ne sungde tan thanda badol ninsin de ye baramas yena yang tene bugu ge bena tenje cheya de bugu khoran ge bena 가서 그래 부구 가르쳐 봐 이나야 때 코라 단단 가난 속에 bena 제당 부구나야 좀 봐요 이나야 단단 가난 속에 난 신기 라와다 독바 숙천부터는 신경을 부구를 요 말했어 대면도 때 코란 게 bena 최 탐체 던 담발라 근데 런신 마주바 동바인 바탕 근데 이나야 런신 마주 신도라 근데 넘버 망가바 근데 차와 임백이 주진 bena 티 임발라 때네 코라 생고 수고요 말때 코라 티임발 때는 랑신게 때는 코라 점점요 백값을 가서 지든 텐데 다베나 디 슉틀레 뭐요 그래서 이나야 짐바메 버버스 짐바메 버버스 근데 요래서
No, that what I said earlier should not be misunderstood, that child or infant does not have any dualistic mind or that of confusion. We have dualistic mind and confusion from the very beginningless time. So therefore, as an infant, the moment we are born, we are very much there with that dualism and state of the confusion. Whether you are born or not, that very
Then some Koran tell a kenga kaya, some Koran, that kind do the Koran, Kewa inaya, Kesea to Lukewa till Kesior, Garcia, Lunga, what in Garcia, but some kenga kaya, tell ten and Henry gave him Marik Pasego, some Koran to the number couldn't draw you, but 10 is.
So whether you are born or not, that the dualism, the ignorance of the mind is always there because mind has never taken birth or death. What is being born, what is being died is the very physical body. So that very dualistic mind, that is not free from confusion, that is not free from dualism, and that of the delusion is the co-emergent ignorance. And in that manner, when a child is born, what I was trying to explain earlier is that this child, although he or she has very much dualistic mind, and that of the grasping, but his or her hope and doubt is not as strong as our hope and doubt. With that level, then when they play, it is just a general phenomenal world that explaining everything is not permanent, everything is a dependent connection, there is an origination. So they build something and it breaks itself or they break it down. So they have no really attachment and grasping to that what they have built. So their hope and fear, or rather doubt, are not as powerful and strong as we, a human being, but you must not misunderstand that they are born without those things.
Yes.
The evidence, if we appear to see phenomena and we appear to see samsara as opposed to nirvana, is that something that is endlessly going to happen? Is that an endless manifestation of the Dharmakaya? Or is it something that can be corrected? Is it a mistake? Is it something that...
죽음하니 단간적인 가스적으로 Are you saying that the perception of the samsara and nirvana is perceived to Dharmakaya? Or from Dharmakaya?
No. Maybe that's where my problem is. Maybe that's the question then. Is it an aspect of Dharmakaya? Is it an aspect of Dharmakaya? Is samsara and nirvana an aspect?
추구기 되는데 양타고 또바이나? 되는 거와다 양안에 대바 니스메 그래스. 되는 추구기 되는 양타고 마도바가 되네. 네 건데 니스 타되는 생각이 그래스.
When you realize the ultimate nature of Dharmakaya, there is no samsara and nirvana.
가르레스나 되네 그냥 당부값으로 가르레스나 코와다 양에는 데바 니스요 말에 세야드 니메 세야드 된다티 되네 코와다 양에는 데바 니여바티 되네 수직도 봉샤바들 쓰기요 말에스 가르제는 코와다 양에는 데바 니스메가 레스나 되네 베나 코라 던 담배게 내루라 되네 코로와 세야직 다 방자직 당 양에는 데바스 로스 줍자티 요 말에스 데 강게 인생게 여러스 샘게 파 따네 코와다 양에는 데바 니스 징게 요레스 니스 파 샘게 다 되는 시게 요레스
No. So the reason here, I think, is that at the very beginning, when we touch at the subject of the samsara and nirvana, that in the ultimate nature of the Dharmakaya, there is no samsara or nirvana. But again, that through the not having recognized or realized the ultimate nature, then we have labeled something that we think as a samsara and something that is nirvana. Samsara needing to get rid of, or we try to abandon, need to abandon, free from. Nirvana, in that we try to obtain that state. So we have that whole idea of samsara needing to be freed from, nirvana to obtain. So that is simply a mental labeling. The ultimate nature of mind or Dharmakaya is that there's nothing to abandon, there's nothing to obtain. So no samsara, no nirvana. That's the ultimate nature of Dharmakaya.
Is that answers your question? Yes.
I don't really understand the word co-emergent. It seems to be used, I just don't understand it. Co-emergent mind Is Dharmakaya co-emergent appearance? And then you spoke of co-emergent with ignorance. I mean, I just don't understand that. What is co-emergent?
tenji keba seyati sem koranda tu tadu loko tsigyo sartu kewa tende mai sem koranda tu namba kuntriyo.
Co-emergent generally means that it is always with mind. That is not born presently, but that whatever is co-emergent wisdom or ignorance has been always with mind. Never been separated from mind.
Sem koran sem yin tenji keba chuji kuserwa sem tenji sidu sem koran ge rangshin tongba ti sem ne los juba mai ba sem koran sem ti tongba sem seyade tenji stisigi yores.
For example, the co-emergent Dharmakaya is that again the essential nature of mind being emptiness. That's the Dharmakaya, not separate, not newborn of the mind, and that mind, the Dharmakaya, not being separated from the mind and Dharmakaya, that is whole idea of the co-emergent, in this case, Dharmakaya. It is the mind, emptiness, emptiness, mind. Those two are not separate, but one. The mind being emptiness, emptiness being the mind. There is no separation of those two. So the co-emergent is that they are inseparable, oneness. The co-emergent in Tibetan is Lenje. Len means together. Je, taking birth. But again, with the taking birth, one must not take the idea of solidly, firmly taking something birth, but it rises at the same time with one. Lenje.
This one's on Indu, then a Marik Bandabuchina, Tenjik Marik Pasteco, which you said Carresana, and a Pena Sem Koran, Rango Mashipa, Tene, and a Pena Turguyores. The Indu, then a Pena Teremato, Sartuki, then a kit and the conductive and a Skiwa Sart Lambala, Tene, True Debat and Dema, Sem Koran to the number of the road debate.
So similarly, that co-emergent ignorance means that not having recognized the nature of mind. That ignorance and mind is very much together. They're not separate. That the aspect of not recognizing the ultimate nature of mind, the ignorance is there.
Jata ti indu tene Quran sem Quran nelu ngom ma sheba tsamchila tene targu yoba mato tene tele losu churba chike marikpa surt khaya yo mares los tuba.
So therefore that ignorance is nothing really different from simply not knowing, not recognizing nature of mind. So otherwise there is no such thing as a solid or concrete that's known as ignorance, but ignorance means not recognizing the very nature of mind. That is the ignorance. It's not different. The ignorance is not different from the mind or separate from the mind.
When there's that recognition in the mind, I don't understand how it can continue, because there's no, on the level of, this level of recognizing the mind as an old friend, there's a sense of someone to recognize something. There's a dualism. But that's still, there's still a duality there. What I don't understand is how can there be a continuity of recognition when there's no one to recognize?
Bena tatanda shebege kapsula. Shebege kapsula tene bena rango trus ya jorbas. Ina yang kapte nyamsulembege kapsula rango trungenda tene bena sam ngoshenge da shejuk sem kurani nismebejikta ti yunguyores. Yamlen kapsu yunguyores.
When it is being explained, it needs to be explained in a very much ordinary level, so that there seems to have something, mind, that recognizing something. But in the actual practice, there's nothing that being recognized by mind. So it is being recognized itself. So there's no two-ness. But when it's explained, that means that when you recognize someone, or like an old friend, as you say, that it seems that mind recognizes something else. But actually, in the actual practice, that there's nothing other than mind itself to recognize.
For example, there's when the instruction on the Vipassana of Mahamudra, and then teacher actually tells you, when you look at your, to the nature of your mind, and the first things that they say, what's the differences that the mind that you're watching to, and then who's watcher, and what's the differences, So can you find the two different mind, or it's one? So that kind of instruction. So then by practice you can see it. There's no two mind. It's actually both who's watching and who's watching. It's the same. So that kind of thing. That's one of the essence of the emptiness nature of mind. So when it's explained, and then you can feel that there's something to. Mind has to see some, nature of mind. So you feel there's two different things, but actually it's not. Yeah, please.
Rinpoche, could I ask for a little clarification in the level of meaning? When you talked about co-emergent ignorance, is that sort of a relative explanation of how mind and ignorance are together when not knowing ground Mahamudra is there? It seems like once recognition of ground Mahamudra happens, then one could no longer speak precisely of co-emergent ignorance. So if you say mind and Dharmakaya are co-emergent, that's sort of ultimate explanation, but to say mind and wisdom are co-emergent is more relative, or both are
Tene tandati ta semjinelo de ngoma shebe kapsula tenji kebe maripasegiyores semjinelo shebe kapsula tenji kebe yishisegiyores temarbe
dare reverse Yes, very much so. When you do not recognize the nature of mind, because of that not recognizing, there's ignorance, and therefore co-emergent ignorance. When your mind has recognized the nature of mind, there's no ignorance. So therefore, it is co-emergent wisdom. There is the wisdom in replacement or in absence of the ignorance. So that is co-emergent wisdom.
제가 인도 tene tandati tene ngoyochane truba meba indu tene ngoyochane ma truba ngoyochane sam korang nelu ngodi truba ma truba imba sonza tan tambala tene tandati marikpati kunjup samdo rema tanda mares.
Since essentially the essential nature of mind is being never confused, so that ignorance is based very much in the relative level, not in the ultimate level.
The notion that things exist by interdependence and therefore don't exist, that shunyata, one could reverse that statement and say that things exist because of interdependence, and therefore they exist. Because there is interdependence, because things interact, they create and something exists. I don't know what the question is, but I guess using the notion of interdependence to deny or to assert the non-existence seems like a legality or legalist, whatever. I don't understand the substantive issue there.
So, what is your understanding of non-existence?
I guess I've reduced it to the fact that what I perceive to exist,
That my perception of it does not exist. That if I see the flower and whatever, that the projection that I create does not exist.
I think this. When we talk about this emptiness or shunyata, and the shunyata is it's not just non-existence. The shunyata is real shunyata or emptiness, which explains in Mahayana's view, is beyond both existence and non-existence. So that's really the shunyata. So, it doesn't matter, because everything is interdependent origination, everything is non-existence, and you can put the other way around, it doesn't matter, because, anyway, there's not really, even though, because non-existence, there's existence. And because of the existence, there's non-existence. Right?
That's the teaching. I don't know what that means.
You don't know that?
No, I don't know. I've heard it.
So you should practice. I'm making trauma. Yes. Okay. Any questions? Yes, please.
Appearance is described as unimpeded arising or unobstructed manifestation of emptiness. But what is meant exactly by unobstructed or unimpeded? What would an obstruction or an impediment be? So what does unobstructed mean?
Unobstructed?
When it comes to talking about appearance.
Mangabasayati pena chotamjeran shima chup shintula pena kasore dene Mangabasaya tunda khansi ke yorsna chedan ke pena tati tuksya yores dene sem khorang ki ngorang shi dene majup shintula dene khanina ya hakhoto bes tunga te khorang sem giran shi mangabatres and you mangaba hakhoto bes.
The unobstructedness is that the essential nature of mind, as explained as emptiness or shunyata. But again, in this sense of the shunyata, that mind has the potential to know everything, that wisdom or the capacity to know everything is the unobstructed nature of the mind.
안에 드네 다가는 식 답변은 쌤 코란 자로이나. 드네 디네루 디게 탐제를 캡대요. 그래서 간데에서는 드네 친구부기 변에 다티 쌤잖아. 드네 치료기 나와다 버tir 차샤바이나. 변에 치료기 나와디 드네 도연 탐발라. 변에 코란 가서 오래 라랑 오버터네 주바지 요 말했어. 하고서 가르에서는 드네 then raran ngosan chubachi yo mara mangu jujin ten mangu duibal tene then pena ta durtharap tisa mangu duibal tene rebas yina yang yo mara te yina yang konsob samdula then pa jik re samba thige then thige tene samba samyon be kapsula then thige khaya kasore raran ngo ma jubati te tinin ganda mebate hakos.
So that is based on the mind. Then the outer appearance.
The
outer appearance is, as we explained, is very much the light of the mind. Now, having understood the mind's nature of the unobstructedness, then anything that exists Now it seems to exist because of accumulation of many different parts together. But there's no one thing independently existing on its own without depending on different particles or parts. So therefore, that the existence of the outer appearance, everything, is union, indifference or inseparable with the existing and non-existing. It existing because of the accumulation of many parts with its interdependent connection, but it does not exist on its own. They have no contradiction to such. Existing and non-existing has no contradiction. That no contradiction is known as unobstructed nature of the object or phenomena.
Okay.